tell me about your life growing up. Just give us a bit of a backstory.
Okay. Always lived in Blundell Sands all my life. My mum and dad went to Sacred Heart School in Crosby. From that, I stayed on, got my A-levels. I was good at art, and so I knew where was I going to go after school. I was going to go and be either a makeup artist or something to do with art. And but then I went on a holiday, and I saw the air hostesses, and I decided that I wanted to be an air hostess.
Really?
So I went for 3 interviews: Dan Air, British Airways, and Air Europe. And I went to Air Europe because the uniform was pink. Joined the airlines. My dad was going absolutely crazy because, of course, I'd come out of uni and everything, and joined the airlines and flew for 6 weeks because I had motion sickness. So when they said that they were going to send me to a psychiatrist because I couldn't stand going backwards on a plane, and they were trying to reverse it, that was it, time to leave.
So you lasted 6 weeks?
6 weeks.
And what did you do then?
Went as a Thompson's holiday rep in Rhodes. So again, my dad was going ballistic. And then I worked for an agency in London doing some promotion work, and Coca-Cola were the agency's clients. And the agency launched a drink years and years ago called Tab.
Oh, I remember Tab.
Okay.
Like clear Coke.
Okay, and then they did Tab Clear.
Yeah.
And the girl who was going to be one of the Tab girls, I was a lot thinner then, and the girl who was going to be the Tab girl got a job as the Martini girl on the same day, so she didn't know which one she was going. And my boss, the only thing that the Coca-Cola wanted to see was the exact uniform, and the only one that could fit into the uniform at the time was me. And it was like a spray-on silver jumpsuit when they launched Tab Clear, and they had these great big massive platform boots in red because it was red and silver, the outfit. So my boss just said, right, get that on, you're going to Coca-Cola. And I went, and I had to lie down in the taxi because if I'd have sat up, I'd have split it. And then I ended up, this guy said to me, could he take me photograph? He told me to put my hands behind my back and look at the camera and look mean. I'll never forget that in my life. And I thought, what? And they loved the picture, and I ended up on the Tab promotion team, so I went all over the place, just giving away Tab, and that was it. All the sporting events, everywhere. I'd have done the job for free.
So what happened after Tab?
Then, God, what happened after Tab? Then, when I was standing in a bank wearing my spray-on silver jumpsuit, and we were doing the Daytona Speedway, I was in this bank, and there was 11 of us, and we all had to be over 5'7" and blonde. And so I was with my mate, and we were skiving. There was no mobile phones or nothing then. And we were supposed to be at the Speedway Centre, but I was needing to change some money. And this American woman, said to me in the bank, she went, wow, I love your outfit. And I thought, she thinks I'm on the game because we look like really odd. And I said to her, actually, I said, I'm not just dressed like this. I said, this is my uniform. I work for Coca-Cola. This is their new drink, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, wow. And when you're thinking, oh, go away. So anyway, she said to me, I love it. And she said, and I said, and she asked me that many questions. I thought she was a spy for Coke. And so I said to her, if you don't mind me asking, I said, what do you do? She said, what do I do? She said, I'm a permanent makeup technician. And I said, a what? And so she said, I'm a permanent makeup technician. I've got no makeup on. And I'm looking at her, and I thought, do you mean you've got no makeup on? I could see her eyebrows, I could see her eyeliner, I could see her lipstick. She said, no. She said, this doesn't come off. And I thought, and obviously 30 odd years ago, 36 years ago, in them days, that was like, what are you talking about? Unheard of. And she said, no. She said, it's cosmetic tattooing. That was it. I couldn't take my eyes off her. I could draw, I could sell, I looked okay, and I knew that she just said something that was me. That was it. So I said to her, "Where'd you do it?" And she said, "There." And it was over the road from the bank. And there was this neon sign that was flashing on and off. And it said permanent makeup on the neon sign. She said, "Have you got 10 minutes?" She said, "Come with me and I'll show you what I do." She said, "And let me draw on your eyebrows." So I've hardly got any eyebrows. So I ended up, I said to her, "Okay, go on." So I said to the girl who's with me, I said, "Would she go to the others and just say that I was going missing for a few more minutes?" And I said, "And I'll join you." So the girl went, "Okay." I goes in this shop with the woman, and she started to show me some before and afters of people with permanent makeup. The concept was fantastic. And needless to say, I never went to work that day. I had my whole face tattooed, as in my eyebrows, my eyeliner, my lipstick, the beauty spot, everything. I must have been nuts. I looked crazy when I had it done because it's always much darker, etc., etc. But I knew I could do it, and I knew that was it. And so, anyway, I asked her, where did she train? She told me where she trained, and I met the others. I finally went to work that day for an hour. I spent $600 on my credit card, which then was like so much money. Like that was a fortune. And I thought, wow, this is it. So anyway, then I told my dad that I was going to be a permanent makeup technician, which he just thought I was even more mental. And cutting a long story short, I went everywhere for Coke, did, like different sporting events, etc., etc. And then I came back. I had a car crash. That was it. Swore I'd never drive. And anyway, and I thought, you know what? I've had enough of being away, and I had a boyfriend at the time, and I thought, and he didn't want me to be away all the time. So I had no money because I'd spent everything on clothes, and 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 I'd done one course in permanent makeup, and so anyway, I had a friend who had a shop in County Road in Everton, and this friend of mine said to me that I could borrow his back room, and it was a really busy hairdressing shop called Hallucinations.
Oh, yeah.
Right, remember? So Barry Cochran is a really good mate of mine. So Barry said to me, "Take the back room and do what you like." And I thought, you know what? It's that busy. And I was just going to do what the woman did to me. I was just going to go, and every client that was getting their hair done, I was going to draw on their eyebrows and convince them that they should all have permanent makeup. Needless to say, I sat there for 6 weeks. How much money do you think I made in 6 weeks?
500 quid.
Nothing.
Really?
Not 1 pence. And I thought, oh my God. So I was getting the bus to work. I was so skint it wasn't funny. And I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? So, and I'd done this course. No one wanted the permanent makeup at all. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching the little portable telly that was on the reception desk. And I had nothing else to do because, that was it. And I'm sitting there, and Vanessa Feltz had her very first TV show called The Vanessa Show. Mm. And they said at the end of the Vanessa Show, if you have an obsession, call this number. We're looking for women with an obsession. So I thought to myself, right, I'm gonna say I'm obsessed with makeup. So I rang up London Weekend Television. I told them that I was obsessed with makeup, and that I'd had to go to America to have my whole face tattooed. So they thought I was a complete nutter. So they said, right, could I go to London Weekend Television? That was on a Friday afternoon, and it could have been London Weekend Television on the Tuesday. I went on the Tuesday, and I went on primetime television with 2 other friends of mine that were also tab girls, and they would have never let me within a million foot of them, but we told the TV that I'd done everything on them. So we went suited and booted, and I had 11 minutes on primetime TV with Vanessa, and Vanessa said to me, pull back your fringe. And so I went on as the woman who was obsessed, and Vanessa said to me, what are you obsessed with? I said, makeup. I said I couldn't go outside the door without makeup. So she thought, what? And anyway, so explained it. She said, pull back your fringe and tell us what you've had done. I said, I've had my eyebrows, I've had my eyeliner, I've had my lipstick, blah, blah, blah. And the audience were like, wow. Anyway, the phone number that I'd given London Weekend Television was my mother's. In the end, so I left. Everything seemed great. They got the 2 girls on that I took with me. They said that they'd had their faces. So the 3 of us were like sitting there, got all the tapes and everything, if you ever want to see that. And it was mad because the next day, London Weekend told me it was the biggest phone-in that they'd ever had. But in the audience, there was the editor of Marie Claire magazine. And this woman rang me and she just said, could she do a feature on me about how did I get into permanent makeup? I told them that I was really successful. I didn't tell them that I'd never had a client and I never earned a carrot. And anyway, so this woman from Marie Claire, she came to Liverpool. By which time there was a guy in Liverpool called Andrew Zigmund, and he had a slimming clinic, and it was like the women used to queue to be going into this slimming clinic in Rodney Street, and I thought, and once it kind of like came together, I thought, do you know what? Oh, can I go back?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So going back, I went from being on the telly with Vanessa to then going back, having all these people phoning in. And then I did about another 2 months in Hair Hallucinations in County Road. And then I rented a room underneath Andrew Zigmund in Rodney Street. And that was it. It just went absolutely crazy. And so the woman came from Marie Claire and she wrote an article. I got a 3-page spread in Marie Claire as the girl with the permanent smile. Bang. That was it. I ended up on every chat show, every magazine from Vogue to Cosmo to whatever. I opened up a training school 2 years later. I got the contract with Harrods. I put it into 134 department stores throughout the country, and had the biggest permanent makeup school that there was. So over the years, and then I used to, you'd get commissioned to go and do whoever did like different celebrities at the time, and a lot of them you weren't allowed to say, but when I did do anyone, then it spiraled and it just went crazy.
What do you think's given you that resilience? Because I think most other people, after so many weeks of earning nothing, would have just thought, right, I need to go and get a job. Where you've sat there and thought, I'm just going to try and get on this show. What do you think sparks you to go, I'm going to just do that?
That was a light bulb. That was as soon as I saw that TV show. It was just meant to be, really. Yeah. And I thought, gosh, I've got to get on this. So I did. And I remember walking around Sainsbury's with my mother, and my mother was saying, God, I hope no one knows who I am. And then I went on the salon. I went on when Herbert was about. He had a programme called Shampoo. I was on that. And went on the salon for a couple of years. And just get the train back from London and people had asked me for the autograph. But it was just, I knew that I knew I was good as well. I could do it very well.
So you were just confident?
Yeah. I could draw like an angel at the time. But, and then I just, years and years and years of it, you just got fed up with it.
Because a lot of times people say, the most successful people, it is luck. But sometimes you've got to make your own luck, haven't you?
Yeah. And I always say if they get up as early as me and they work as hard, I mean, it was like thousands of miles a week. And I got to the point where I couldn't stop because the clients were relying on you as well. They loved it. And, one tells 10 and 10 told 100. And that literally was the way it was.
Would you say you're addicted to work?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. you've still got that same drive now, haven't you?
This week, maybe not, but most of the time, yeah. Yeah. I have an idea and then I'll run with it.
And do the people around you sometimes say, why are you still the way you are?
Yeah, certainly my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're comfortable now, aren't you? You know, you've got lovely
we've done
properties,
okay.
you've done all right, and it's like there's no real need for you to carry it on.
Yeah.
But that you've still got that drive.
I think when you have the time off and you think about it, sometimes I do think, what am I doing? But at the same time, if I was off,
what would you be doing? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's always something else, you know, there's always, I don't know, just got that brain.
You seem to be really good at identifying something and think, I could take that to market.
Yeah.
Or this will work.
I've done that a few times.
Yeah. Tell us your best story about her.
My best story? Gosh. When I got fed up with the permanent makeup, Groupon had started getting, you know, Groupon was the up and coming thing. And I thought to myself, what could I sell? What could I sell that was that was different? And, you know, so I had a good think, and a friend of mine had invited me to Hong Kong. So I thought, yeah, never been to Hong Kong, let's go. And I saw a woman who had a great big beauty box in the airport. And I thought, I should go and buy some beauty boxes and fill them with cosmetic products. So by the time I got to Hong Kong, I had it absolutely worked out what I was going to go and look for. So I went from Hong Kong and then went across to China. And I went to a fair called Canton Fair, which was the biggest eye-opener I'd ever had. It was like the most innovative products in the world, and, you know, but I loved all that. But I decided from my beauty box that I was going to tell Groupon that it would say, well, I know what I was going to say, £500, and I was going to sell it for £99. But then out of that, I thought, there was a set of brushes in it, there was makeup, there was this, there was that, you know, like all loads of different products, and the cases. And I said to Groupon, you know, what was what? I could never be normal. I couldn't just have a city deal. I'd have a national deal.
Right.
I'd have every city. Don't just give me a little bit. So for a national deal, you needed a lot of product. So I thought, right, if I needed a lot of product, how am I going to get all these beauty boxes back? So then I decided, right, forget about the beauty box. I'm going to just sell some cosmetic brushes, which were the 20-piece set of cosmetic brushes that were in the kit. So I sourced these brushes in China, and then I had some terrible news because my dad wasn't well. My dad ended up in the hospital, and but I was kind of like, he was always interested in what was going through my mind and what was going to be the next thing. And I came back from China and I told Dad that I had found these beauty brushes, 20-piece beauty set, and that I was going to put them on Groupon, and it was going to be a national deal. Anyway, he said to me, how many have you bought? I went 500, and he said, well, that's good. He said, so how much are you selling them for? I went £20 at $19.99, and Dad said to me, what are you paying for them? I said £2.70. He went, that'd be great if you sold all them. I went, I know, yeah. Anyway, a few days later, Groupon had given me the national deal. It went live. And I remember looking, and it was like that film, I think I said to you, Joy the Mop, when this woman had an idea and had no idea that this was going to go so crazy. Anyway, I sat there and I was thinking, right, and you're looking at different cities, how the clocks in, how many people are buying. I didn't realise that after one day, 24 hours, I sold 27,000 sets of makeup brushes.
And you had 500.
And I had 500. And I remember sitting there, my dad's going, and all the men in my dad's ward, they were all listening to, what the hell are we going to do? And I literally thought to myself, oh my God, what am I going to do? So the following day I got back on the plane to China, and I went back to the supplier, went to Guangzhou. I think they had to cut off at Chinatown all the trees because I had to put the exact same brush. And it took me 7 weeks to get them brushes brought in, but by which time it was absolutely crazy. I never expected that at all. But it fulfilled me promise. I mean, everyone got their brushes in the end. But then that sparked a few other things. Then I thought, right, what can I do next? So then I did Swarovski elements, these little earrings, put them on, sold them in thousands. Then we did disco ball bracelets. They call them Shambhala bracelets. I did that. I did, those things for the smoking. You have to recharge the ciggy.
Oh, yeah, the electric cigarette.
Yeah, electric. Yeah. Right, so okay, so going back to this. So then I did an electric cigarette and had this brilliant idea that I was going to buy all these electric cigarettes in China. And so I thought, right, I'm going to do another national deal on electric cigarettes. Gave the Chinese all the, everything, bought it, perfect packaging, perfect everything. The containers came in. Then when I looked on the packaging, it said no smoking. I think that was someone telling me, stop doing this. So literally that was the end of that. And I didn't do that anymore. And then I had too many clients. I tried to dip out of doing the permanent makeup, but I had too many clients asking me to come back and carry on. So dipped back into that. But I'd lost the passion for the permanent makeup and then moved on to the next thing.
Brilliant. So going back then to when you were in school.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got this real desire, it's very, very entrepreneurial, isn't it? What did your teacher say about you?
What did the teachers say? Probably, well, I don't know. I don't know whether I was flavour of the month a lot of the times. I remember standing outside the classrooms half the time.
Yeah.
We're talking. Yeah. But I like school. I did like school, yeah. We did the same A-levels because I was Walsh, another friend of mine was Williams, another one was Wallace, and another one was Wright. So we were all the W's, and one of my best friends was the headmaster's daughter. And I said we picked the same A-levels because it was just crazy, really. And anyway, we've all ended up doing okay.
Oh, that's good. So do you think you had like a business brain when you were in school? Or was it more a light bulb moment from that time when you were working for Coca-Cola?
Didn't, as far as school, it was like, what am I going to do? Didn't really know. I knew it would be makeup or art. And then it was just ironic that the makeup was fitted in both.
And at the time, were you surrounded by business people? Like, was your people in your family in business? Or?
No, my dad was an entrepreneur, like he'd had restaurants and he'd had a building company and he had a bookies and he had a post office and, you name it. I'm one of 4 kids and, the others were, I think I was a bit different to them. My sister's very different from me. She ended up working for me for a long time. So, and, one brother's a gardener, the other brother's a policeman.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So you think you're the one who's followed in your dad's footsteps?
Yeah,
really,
probably.
Yeah.
Always had to be something else.
Yeah.
And he was a compulsive gambler. So I could have gone down that route. I say when I've packed all this in, I'm going to buy a racehorse. That's it.
Thing is with gambling, it's like any addiction, isn't it, really? Where in the same breath, really, you have got that addictive, it's not gambling, but it's that
something else,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of entrepreneurs have. That desire to just keep on going all of the time.
It's like a drug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you see, the likes of those brushes, that was like a drug, because you're just thinking, gosh, those deals were crazy. Crazy. So you're looking then for the next thing and then the next thing.
That was I was going to ask you, did you stop at that point and think, wow, we've done well here? Or was it like, right, what's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
Even now, as much as I say to myself, what am I doing? And, I think sometimes I'd like an easy life. But at the same time, if you ask me to go and source something, I'll do it. I know I'll do it.
Yeah. It's quite hard, isn't it? I think because people say to me as well, do you ever stop and think, I've done all right here and all that? But I don't. I always feel like I'm at the very start of my journey.
Yeah.
And I've got so much more to do. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I suppose you can't really... People try and label everything now, but for me, it's not. It's a bit like you just want to be doing something.
Yeah.
Whatever that something is.
Your brain's active. You just got to... It's like, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will make you laugh. Talk me through a typical day in the life of Louise Walsh.
Which day?
Yeah.
My God. What do I say to that, Anne?
Is it up early? Just?
Yeah. Okay, day in the life of Louise Walsh. Well, I have 3 homes, okay? So I live between Liverpool, Dubai or Marbella. Most of the time I spend in Dubai. Very rarely do I lie in bed. My husband gets up. He's always up and he always wakes me up. Don't know how many years I've got to be with him now to tell him to stop waking me up, but he still does. And so, yeah, I'm at the minute, I just don't stop, especially with plasma now. It's crazy. So it is 16 hours a day of working, and it's no matter where I am. Basically, that's it. Always on the phone, always planning the next thing.
Can you see yourself slowing down?
I'd like to think so, but probably not.
But no.
Maybe not for the next couple of years. I've met you.
Who, if anyone, do you admire in business? Is there?
Do you know what? You can admire a load of people, but I don't even have time to, I don't, even when people say, what do you think of this? Even when you just ask me that about a book, I don't read any books.
Yeah.
Too busy. Like literally. I don't see the films. I don't know the news. It's crazy.
I was talking to someone recently and she said to me, who's your biggest competitor? And I think I find people get too hung up on that, because running a business, it's not like a game of football where it's 90 minutes and it's finished. Running a business, it's pretty much whoever can stay in the longest. So how do you quantify who a competitor is? What, someone who's making more money, or someone who's doing, but over what period? Because you either stay in it for the long haul, or you think, well, it's one or two things, this isn't for me anymore, and you shut it, or you get acquired by someone.
Yeah.
And I don't get hung up on competitors, because I think there's enough work for everyone, and ultimately it's just a slog, isn't it? It's about just continuing to do something over and over and over and over again. Not getting too high, not getting too low, and just trying to stay consistent, really. We had this conversation earlier, really, but what would you say drives you?
Would I say money? Not really.
No, because if it was money, you'd probably stop by now.
Yeah. To a degree, I just like it.
Yeah. I think I've said this to you in the past, since I met you, really. I find we're similar in a lot of ways. And I'm a bit like you, where it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I just want to be really good at getting it and growing it. That could be anything. I could be like your brother now, working and have my own gardening company, or florist, or anything. And it wouldn't be that thing. It's the thrill of growing something, isn't it? And then a good analogy for me, it's like building a car. I love to be able to build the car, but then I'm happy for someone else to get in and drive it.
Yeah.
So I can move on to the next car then.
Yeah.
Because that's the exciting bit. Taking something from inception and getting it up till you go, yeah, because not everything's going to work. But seeing it work and then thinking, right, what's the next project? And I think I'm quite fortunate in a way, because I get to do that over and over again with other people's companies. I'm almost to my own detriment sometimes, that I get overly invested in it. I too treat it like my own. It's like, right, where can we get this? But
I'd be like that with houses.
yeah,
I think if I could do anything, really do anything, which my passion would be to buy a house and do the interior.
really.
I should have been an interior designer, really, and painted stuff mad.
Do you think you'd have been where you are today, though?
Maybe, you know.
Really?
I don't know. I've bought and sold a lot of property. Even yesterday, I put in a new purple lager in a new house. It's fantastic. I just think, wow.
You got a good eye for it.
Yeah. Well, and I'll never ever, like I bought this cooker, and an argues however much, but I can't pay full price.
You love a bargain.
And making it perfect.
Mm.
I've bought the Arga before I bought the kitchen. As you do, in purple.
Jeez. What would you say? We'll split this in two. So, what's your pet hate, personally and in business?
What's my pet hate? Laziness. So, or what else would I say? Give us a clue.
Mine's laziness.
Yeah.
That's my biggest bugbear of that,
Right.
I think. If someone's got no drive, determination or nothing, I do struggle with that.
Yeah.
I know not everyone can be 100 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
No, everyone doesn't want to be.
No, but laziness I do struggle with.
Yeah.
What about in business? Is it the same?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So if you were to mentor someone now, God help them, if you were to mentor someone, what would be the best piece of advice?
Work hard. Keep going. Know what you're doing. Be honest.
I was taking my son to school this morning. He was only 5. They say you can learn a lot from your kids, and they just simplify everything, don't they? And he was like, I want to get a blue car when I'm older. I was like, great. And he said, and I know all I've got to do is listen and work really hard.
Oh.
I thought, you know what? You've probably just nailed it.
Yeah.
It's all you have to do.
Yeah.
There's no secret formula. It's just about being persistent, getting up every day and working hard, isn't it?
Yeah. Keep it going.
What's really important to you, would you say?
Loyalty.
Yeah.
Honesty. That's basically, it's what everyone wants, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially this week.
What advice would you give to yourself, a 16-year-old you? If you could go back, what advice would you give?
God, what would you say?
Do you know what?
Probably wouldn't change much.
That's what I was going to say. Would you not change anything? No, there's no real need to, is there? I think as well, people can focus a lot on, if I went back, I'd change this and that, but I think it's all of them other things that make you as a person.
It's like, what would I change? I went on a holiday to Corfu, and I got a job as a ski instructor, water ski instructor,
You did?
but I couldn't ski. That was the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. Just to stand there and talk someone through water skiing. Crazy.
And you couldn't do it?
No, I couldn't do
So
it.
how did you manage to get the job?
At the time, it was Nico's ski school. Nico liked me. That's it. But I said, what do you want me to do? And I listened. He told me exactly what to say and exactly, how to teach them how to hold it. Then I got a job at Trimoco Cars selling Peugeot when the Roland Garros was the main car. And he told me exactly how to sell a car. And I stayed there for another 6 weeks. I don't know. It's like that many different things. You just look back and think, God, what haven't I done?
It's an art, isn't it, selling?
Yeah.
People think it's easy, but I think it's the most difficult.
You can be
isn't it?
born to sell, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you could sell anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. I struggle a little bit sometimes when we're bringing people in, trying to find someone in the company, and I think, what we do is easy. I could go and get a job tomorrow selling mugs, pens, whatever, and I'd find it quite easy.
Yeah.
Because it's just a conversation with somebody, finding out what they need and saying, well, yeah, I can give that.
Yeah. I sold bus advertising one time. I mean, it's just crazy.
Bus advertising.
Bus advertising. Used to go around St John's precinct and just sign them all up.
So moving on to plasma, which is the main focus in business now, where did that idea come from?
So I was a distributor for a German brand.
Yeah.
I've been with them for 22 years and I'd only ever sold 5-star equipment, like amazing permanent makeup machines. And the owner of that, I was like his right-hand man. I went all over the world. Every trade show, he would have me drawing it, not only doing the work, talking the talk. We were a very good team. I trusted him with my life. I really did. And he told me that he'd had this idea for shrinking eyelids. And he said to me, Lou, this is the next big thing. So I was like, right, wow. We went out to Bologna to do a trade show. And the people who were already doing the medical side of plasma were next to us at the trade show. So I literally stood there and I watched this treatment being done. And Dirk, the owner of the company, he told me that he was going to make his own, and he was going to call it fibroblast. So I was like, right, great. And he said, so it seemed very straightforward, how to do it at the beginning. And so I thought, right, okay, great. And so obviously I became the distributor for England. Exactly what you say about selling. I asked him how many machines he was selling them. It went crazy. And I asked him how many machines I could have now. And he said he could give me 35. I sold 35 in 1 week. So if I'd trained you to do permanent makeup and then I called you and I said, I've got something new for you, something that's you're going to find very straightforward because you've got the hand to do it. This is going to be your new thing. Because you trusted me and because you'd made money out of me, you're going to sign up with me. So I sold them all. £4,000 each, 35 pens. So I thought, wow. I went to Berlin on the training course, thinking I'm going to come back knowing all about it. But the course was in German. So I came back and I didn't know a thing. I realised very quickly that I had really jumped into something that shouldn't have been. I should never have done that. And so I had to bring in some trainers quick because the training course was coming up. So I brought the trainer with me I told him to come over. The guy he had like a bit of broken English, but he was okay. And another 2 trainers. And I so we did the training courses, but not only was, at the time, the manual was nothing like what we've got now. It was nothing, it wasn't a patch on what we've got now at all. So I should never have been doing it at all at the start, if I'm honest. But what you do, like I had to honour what, the people obviously had paid all that money. They were looking forward to doing it. So we had to deliver as best as we could. So anyway, I ended up, not only though was the training course like that, it was within 4 weeks after that, there was 22 out of the 35 machines that were broken. And I just thought, oh my God, what have I done? So I thought, right, what can I do? So I knew this guy in Berlin called Ronald. He made machines for Pure Beau. And I rang Ronald and said, and he didn't like this guy who wouldn't help me when the machine started to break. Again, it was just all about greed with him. And I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? So I said to Ronald, could he help me? He said, yeah. I got on the plane that day, went to Berlin like a donkey with 2 suitcases full of broken pens, walked into his office in Berlin, and he just said to me, how long are you here for? And I said, as long as it takes. I said, for you to fix them. He said, Lou, I never said I was going to fix them. He said, I said I'd help you. I didn't say I was fixing the pens. My husband's standing there, his eyes are going to the ceiling as usual. And he said, and I said, what can you do for me? He said, I can make you a pen. So Steve's like, oh, no way, and all this. And I was like, oh, go on, tell me more. He said, would I come back in 6 to 8 weeks with a piece of chicken fillet and a sausage and come back and try a prototype, and he would show me everything there was to know about shrinking skin. So I said, yeah. So I did. So I went back with me chicken fillet and the sausages, and he, and I gets there. I took another girl with me who was a laser technician. He handed me the pen. I got my chicken fillet out. I started to put the dots on the chicken fillet, and I watched the chicken fillet go, and I knew. And it was exactly like the permanent makeup with the woman in the bank. I knew that was it. And I thought, well, if I can shrink a piece of chicken, I can shrink an eyelid easy. So I just needed to pad everything out for everyone to understand. So I got all my experts. So it's all about getting a good team behind you, which is exactly what I did do. But I wasn't putting my name to it because I didn't know that I could 1,000,000% trust the product under my name at first. So I white labelled it to 4 other companies. I sold 30 of these devices. No one knew that they were all mine. Never had one back. And 14 months later, put my name to Plasma Pen by Louise Walsh. That was it. That was the start. Ended up getting an American distributor very early on, and then we were selling over 200 pens a month in America alone.
So that was one of the questions I was going to ask. How did you break into America? Was that?
I went to do a show in Miami. I've done the shows for 30 odd years, obviously doing the makeup, so I knew Miami was a big show. It was absolutely crazy. The demand for it was nuts. We had a few beds, we were doing models, and I had a company that came to me, and that day he asked me whether he could have exclusivity on the product. Well, for America, no chance, not at the time, not unless they were going to be buying big. And he wanted to buy something like 10, well, he did buy 10 pens at the beginning. I sold him the 10 pens, and 4 weeks later he rang me back and made me an offer I couldn't refuse. Gets myself off on a plane, went to Boston, bang, that was it. And then it just got bigger. And then I bought out another pen. When we realised very quickly that we could double the power. So we made two settings on the device. And then I would do a trade-in. I would take all the first pens back for all the ones that had made all the money, and we could swap them into the second device. And here I am 8 years later with another device with 5 settings on it, and that's my main seller now. So thousands of pens all over the world. Just went mad.
Just from this conversation alone, really, and obviously from knowing you for a while, it seems to be every challenge that you're faced against, you just find a solution. Do you actually think, I've got to find a solution, or is it just natural? Do you ever just sit there sometimes and go, oh my God, I'm knackered here, there's nothing I can do? Or do you go, oh well, that's happened, let me go and find a solution?
I think you've got to find a solution because you've got too many people depending on it, and I've sold too many pens. I know too many people. Yeah. And I just think that you want to give them the best, and the devices are the best you can get.
It's funny though, speaking to you, because you just think that's normal when it's not. Like, for you to constantly be faced with a challenge and find that solution, that's not normal. That, you know, and you probably don't give yourself enough credit for it. Most people.
I wonder how I've got to where I've got. It's mad.
Do you?
It's mad. Especially when even yesterday I walked into the training course, and there was 18 people in Ainsdale on Monday, and each one of them wanted a picture. And I'm thinking, and I haven't even taught them anything. The last person who you'd want to teach plasma now would be me. But each one of them wanted that picture. and each one of them was telling me how amazing and how much money they'd made. And, you know, the ones who'd done it, the ones who came on the advanced class were delighted, made a lot of money with plasma. And you think, gosh, all from me with me sausages and me chicken with no intention and not knowing anything about plasma in the first place.
It strikes me you've got no fear, have you, really?
Oh, don't know.
I don't think you have.
Maybe
I wouldn't
not.
say you're a chancer, but you're just someone who's
If someone's right,
you just go for it.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's it, though, isn't it? You see something, you see the opportunity and you go for it. That's the buzz.
Yeah. I suppose you're not worried as well if something fails. It's a case of, well, that's just not everything's going to work. But I think a lot of people get hung up on that. They want to make sure they've got this one thing and it's perfect. And it's like, just go and test it first and see if it works. See if you might just be in the wrong market. You might have the best product, but just in the wrong market.
Yeah.
Like you was on County Road.
Never believing getting the bus.
Yeah, but at the time, it was just the wrong market you were in. And then you moved to Rodney Street, and all of a sudden, it's still the same product.
Yeah.
But you're in front of a different audience. And then it just took off, didn't it?
Yeah.
If you could pick one celebrity who you would like to be using plasma, who would it be?
We've done a lot of celebrities now. I'm not allowed to say half the time who they are.
Oh, you can say who you like.
Maybe J-Lo. I've got a doctor in Miami who's J-Lo's facialist.
Right.
And I've got to get in front of her one day. Just those, you know, I mean, I was out with Paris Hilton last year. I went to Paris's house and unbelievable. She absolutely loved the treatment.
Really?
Yeah. And then the fact that then she sent me photographs of me and her from her mobile. And I thought to myself, gosh, this is crazy. Went back the next day, you know, and you're driving up to her house thinking, how have I got here? Absolutely mad.
So I was just leading on to the next question I was going to ask, actually, which is, what are your pinch me moments? Obviously, that being one of them. What else where you've thought, how have I even got to this situation?
I years ago, another one, this was probably one of the biggest, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but so I said to you, I love Pretty Woman. I watched that with my mum. When I always used to say to my mum, if I ever made a few bob, I'd take her to the Beverly Wilshire. So I booked the Beverly Wilshire because I knew the facialist. I knew a woman who was the manager of the spa in the Beverly Wilshire. So this woman was from Ireland. Her name was Elizabeth. And she would only ever let me touch her face. And she had a beautiful face, very dark, very striking. So if you ever do permanent makeup on a good-looking person as well, that always helps. So with Elizabeth's face, she could sell anything. And so she got me a deal in the Beverly Wilshire for a suite in the Beverly Wilshire years and years ago for 250 quid. So I told my mother we were going there. My mother didn't believe me that we were actually going to stay there until we got in the taxi at LAX. And so anyway, goes there. And Mum said to me, you're not going to work, are you? I said, no. I said, and I was like literally taking her for 5 days. I said, no. And that was it. Gets in the room. Everything's beautiful. And the phone goes. And it's this Elizabeth who, the deal I had with her was if she got me the room, I would do a top up on her face. So anyway, cutting a long story short, I should have told this the other way around, but cutting a long story short. So what happened was I'd done Elizabeth's face, and because she was dark and beautiful, she looked fantastic. And because she looked so fantastic, she said to me, are you sure you don't want to work? She said, because I can get you loads of clients here now. I said, no, I don't want to work. And I'm sitting in the room with my mother, and the phone goes, and Elizabeth says to me, hi, darling. She said, I know you said that you're busy and everything. She said, but I just wondered, could you just come down to the spa for 5 minutes? She said, and I just want to meet someone. And I'm thinking, God, am I ever going to be able to stop this? Because even when you say I don't want to do it, there's always someone who is like, just that 5 minutes. Anyway, I goes down to the spa, out of politeness really, and I knocks on the door, and she come to the door, and she's winking, and she said, "Hi, darling, I just want you to meet my client." She said, and I'm thinking, why are you winking? And my mum loves Shirley Bassey. Like, that would be her overall, like, oh my gosh, you know. And so, anyway, I walks in the room after her winking, and Shirley Bassey's lying on the bed having a facial. And Elizabeth says to me, "Shirley, meet my good friend Louise Walsh." And Shirley Bassey went, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm thinking, oh my God, my mother's going to have a breakdown. So Shirley had had her eyebrows done wrong and asked me to fix her face. And I was like, obviously, of course, blah, blah, blah. She asked me when could she do it. It was my mother. It was my mother's 60th birthday. And I said to Shirley, said, how long was I in town for? I told her it was my mum's birthday, and she said that she was in town because it was Ann Miller, a famous movie actress, her birthday, and she was going to be the main guest at this Ann Miller's birthday party in the Beverly Hills Hilton. And Shirley said, "If you do my face, I'd like you to be my guest of honour." And I'm going, what? And you're just thinking, this is like absolutely mental. Anyway, cut a long story short, I ended up saying, like, obviously I was going to go back the next day. I had to fit it in because she was going to be the singer. So she ended up wanting everything done. But one of the funniest things in my whole career was when I went back up the stairs, and I knocked on the door. My mother opens the door. My mother went, "What?" And I went, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "In fact, I think you're going to have to sit down." And Mum says, "Go on." And I said, "I've just met Shirley Bassey. She wants me to do her face." And do you know what my mum said? "Bloody hell, you're not going to do it, are you?"
Did she?
And she was going, "You're joking." As if like I wasn't, like I was.
You're on your day off.
Yeah. But it wasn't that. I was at the top of my game anyway. But my mum's thinking, you can't go doing her face. It's just like really odd. Anyway, I went to the party, and I'll never forget. So Shirley Bassey had done it all. Shirley came up and she said to me, "Mum, you've got a very talented daughter." And it was as if I wasn't even there. My mum went, "Oh, I know, yeah." Mum went, "Shirley, I seen you at Jimmy Tarbuck last week," she said, "and you had this beautiful dress on. You look fantastic." I was just like out the door. And that was it. Yeah. Funny.
I remember you telling me a story about a famous wardrobe.
What was that?
Someone's wardrobe that you bought.
Oh, yeah, right, okay. I was thinking of a piece of furniture. Okay. Oh my God, that was crazy. Yeah, when I had a friend of mine who had a second-hand clothes shop in London and rang me up and told me that she had this actress that had given all these clothes and wanted to sell all her clothes because she was moving to America. And anyway, 250 pairs of Manolo Blahnik, Chanel coats, Bottega Veneta, you name it. I drove down in the night and ended up, it was actually Angelina Jolie, who was probably half the size of me, but out of greed, I had to buy every coat that she had. And to this day, I've still got them in the wardrobe.
When's the book coming out?
Oh my gosh.
You could literally.
People say that.
Yeah.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's not over yet.
No. Okay, so that's fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Thank you.